Hello everyone, Kador here. So today I wanted to make a quick video to answer kind of the question I get the most. Well, not really. The question I get the most is why doesn't my nuke team work? Most of the time it's because you're a dummy. But yeah, the question I get the most, and I should say questions, plural, is about PvP. What do I do in Grand Arena? What do I do against that team? What do I do against that guy? How should I work for my Grand Arena roster? Yeah, that kind of stuff. So I might just start doing some videos about teams I use in Grand Arena, teams I like, that kind of stuff, and what I think you should be doing. So this will be kind of the first one, giving you 3 tips that I think are the 3 more important things that you want to do for PvP as a whole. So that would be Grand Arena and Territory Wars. Not really Arena because it's not in the same boat anymore. I'm recording this a second time and I will try to make it faster because I recorded it the first time and it was 30 minutes long again because I have so much stuff to say about that game. So yeah, just to try to make it digestible, I'm going to try to stay under the 15-minute mark and go a bit faster. So, first tip. First tip would be that I think you should definitely spread your Gear 13 around. Let me explain. So, this video as a whole is intended to be for a more free-to-play approach to the game. Tips 2 and 3 are valuable for everyone, but tip 1 is kind of free-to-play friendly. If you are a whale, first of all, thank you, because you're putting money into the game and that's a good way to show support, so yeah, thanks. So this doesn't really apply to you because you can just have as much Gear 13 as you want, basically. But for people who are free to play and are not like very top end players, like people who start playing at the start of the game can have a lot of Gear 13 even free to play because that's the only thing they can farm at the moment. Anyway, if you are free to play and if you are in like my range, let's say 3 million or a bit above that, well, first of all, you should definitely farm some Gear 13. I see a lot of people not farming any, and yeah, that will be a liability. You need some of this shit, because people having Gear 13 and people not having Gear 13 can make a huge difference in a roster. Anyway, what I mean by spreading them around, let's say you have a Raven in Malak. You kind of want to have all of them Gear 13, right? Well, sure, and that will make you a great arena team. Sure. But then, even in arena, you're not 100% sure to get first every day. If you're not in the shard chart, that could be hard. And then if you don't have the best mods, the mirror can still be hard sometimes. So, you know, that's not a guarantee. And what is guaranteed is that in PvP, if you have only one really good team, like let's say that's Raven and Malak, and the guy on the other side is, let's say, me, I'm going to nuke it, or I'm going to CLS it, or I'm going to padme it if it's not really good, and I will still be left with kind of a lot of good teams to deal with the rest of yours, and I have some Gear 13 on the side. So, what I want to go with that, where I want to go with that is that I think that if you're free to play, or if you don't have a lot of resources, you should spread your resources a bit thinner if you want to be successful in Grand Arena or Territory Wars. Let me explain. Sure, a full Darth Raven and Malak Gear 13 is a great team, but do you know what can climb to first every day and only requires one Gear 13? The nuke. Have a Gear 13 Grievous, you can be first every single day. It's easy as that. Sure, it doesn't hold on defense and stuff, and that's the thing. If you don't have any money to invest in a game, you need to have time. You know, it's kind of obvious, really, but have that good nuke team. All of a sudden, you can make first every day, and you only need one Gear 13 for that. You can see that I have 5 Gear 13. That could be one team, but the way I kind of spread them around, that's, well, 2, 3, maybe even 4 great teams, because most of the time my B1 is not in my Grievous team. So, yeah, it's kind of true for all the gear, but let's say, again, you have one really good team, when in Grand Arena, you need 6, 5, 8. One good team will not be enough. If they punch through that good team, and you don't have anything else, you're kind of dead. So, Sure, if you're like at 4 million and above, you kind of need gear 12 on everyone, but that's kind of the same for gear 12, really. If you check my bounty hunters, I have my boss at gear 12, I have Embo at gear 12 because he's very useful in raids, IG-88 is for the nuke, he's not really a bounty hunter, the rest is gear 11, and that's actually kind of enough. My usual bounty hunter team will be Boss, Embo, Boba, Aura, and Dengar. And spoiler alert, I don't really use these guys 5 together. But anyway, yeah, that's enough. And people will underestimate that team based on gear. They will think like, oh, this team doesn't have really good gear, so I should be able to take it out easy peasy. Well, that's the kind of stuff that will get you hold. I will come back to that. Same thing for my first order. I have Kylo and Executioner because they are the ones doing like the big job, and then these two guys that I use most of the time are gear 11. Kylo is a bit too low, but that's enough for what I need him for. That's giving TM to the team at the start, and these two guys do the job just fine. So if people see that you don't have full gear 12 and not full gear 13 at higher fees, they will underestimate your team. And that brings me to my second point. People will underestimate your gear, but you should have good mods. Gear is really good, is important, but mods. My second point is that mods. So in PvP, most of players, let's say most of players, that's not true at the higher levels, but most of players will not check your mods before attacking, and that could come bite them in the ass. And combine these two things, combine having lower gear, well, let's not say lower, let's just get gear 11 instead of gear 12, that kind of stuff, with having really good mods, you can throw people off by quite a bit. That theory falls short because of 6-dot mods that are sometimes way better, but let's give you like the classic example that you see most of the time from even streamers, DB. I love you, DB. You're the best. But yeah, let's say you see a bounty hunter team. You know, oh, someone put a bounty hunter team in defense. Very likely scenario. So, there is how most people will think. Oh, I see bounty hunters, I can counter them with JTR or troopers. That's the two classic counters, you know? So, let's say the guys see a good Bosk-led team and, oh, I'm going JTR. And then he didn't check the mods, and the mods say that this Bosk actually is, let's say, faster than his JTR and has 100% tenacity. The game starts, JTR waves at Bosk, and Bosk doesn't give a fuck, and then your bounty hunter team proceed to trash the JTR team because you can't really handle Bosk. Just because you mod him well. Just because you have a good tenacity cross, just because you have tenacity and a good speed set, that kind of stuff. Let me show you, that will be even more telling. Like, I usually ask my opponents what they use against my teams when they are kind enough to respond and are not calling me a cheater. But yeah, see that's a guy that uses a JTR against my boss team. And you can see that it's not a really good team. Like, it has a gear 8 and 2 gear 11. But he didn't check that Bosk had massive tenacity and he lost the fight. Same, so not the same team, but actually it's also JTR. I think JTR is pretty bad. But see that Kirala team there? Well, the guys sent JTR against it. He underestimated that girl right there, and then he died, because same thing. Oh, that's not a big gear, that's gear 8, I should be fine. Yeah, well actually for gear 8 she has pretty good speed and pretty good damage. So if you don't check that first, if you're not a bit careful, you will lose the game just because you didn't check mods. Just because you didn't check that my Kira actually has really good mods and really good speed. So she plays first, she called someone, and all of a sudden you have a lot of damage in your hands. Mods. Mods are key. Mods are key, people. I mean, if you don't check my nest, and she's in whatever team I use her in, I usually use her in defense, because that works kind of every time. People don't check her mods. They're just like, oh, that's a nest, I know how to deal with that, or I don't. But, you know, most of the time I will send Niners, I will send this and that and this and that. And they don't check that, sometimes they go in and they see tenacity and they're like, oh, that's a slow tenacity nest. Yeah, well, she has more than 300 speed. And so if you don't see that Minus has that kind of speed, you're in for big trouble, because she will make my team play first. And then she has good tenacity and that kind of stuff. So mods. Have good mods. I don't have any god tier mods myself. My mods are kind of on the very top end side, let's say. My best speed is a 22. That's not that good. That's really not that good. But yeah, my very best mods are 22. And here they are. See, 22 speed. Yeah, I have 2 of these. Then I have like a bunch of 20s. I actually have 18. That's pretty good. And then I have a ton of 15 plus. I think it just goes up to, yeah, that point 15, yeah, still 15 on some arrows. 15, still 15, still 15. Okay, 14. Yep, goes to 15 down to here. So you can see that's kind of a low out of 15 and something mods. Speed is key. And how did I get out those mods? Well, you should see that every single day, because every single day you should put your 350 crystal refreshes in your mods and farm mod mats and upgrade your mods and get better speed. And you should get good mods, and you should have good mods on your tunes. And not every single tune, but every single tune that you use in PvP. Don't go like modding the very bad tunes. But see my Raven? Well, people just laugh at it because it's a Gear 8 Raven. It's actually faster than some Gear 12 Ravens. You see some Gear 12's Raven being slower than this if they're not like the arena team. Yeah, you do. So yeah, mods. And people will always underestimate your tunes if they are Gear 11, but very well modded. And they will have some very bad surprises. Health tunes don't really fall into that category, like Bandmate, Grievous and stuff, because they need Gear 12 for that sweet health primary, but almost true for everyone else. And then, my third point would be, don't play the usuals. So what I call the usuals, you see actually a lot of videos out there saying there are the top X and Y teams for PvP. Don't ever listen to 80% of those videos. Especially, sorry to say it, but especially the ones made by ex-game changers. Because they are lazy people that just do always the same thing. Check every single faction and put the 5 tune in there that are the classics and say it's a really good team. Sometimes it's true, of course, you want 5 Phoenix for your Phoenix squad. That makes sense because of Era's lead. You kind of, that's not always true, want 5 Sith Empire to be the 5 classics, you know. But if you go with the usual, let's say you go with a classic Bounty Hunter team again. I think that's a good example because they are quite flexible. Let me show you something first. This is my squad screen. My cat is going crazy in the background. He's... stop chewing cardboard. This is my squad screen. So there is the teams I use sometimes to climb. There is the team I use in raids. And there is some GG variants for next video. And that's it. I don't have any PvP teams set up, and that is because I change them along the way when I play. I don't play the same teams over and over again. I adapt them to my opponents, and I adapt them to what I think I will be facing and what they will be sending to me. Because there is a lot of mind games, especially in Grand Arena. And I think you should do that too. And everyone should do that too. Free to play as whales and everything. If you just go with the classic, so let's say you just go with a classic Bounty Hunter team, you know. So not IG because you need it somewhere else most of the time. But you know, that's a classic one. Okay. Let's say that you will use Django somewhere else for his lead or for his Separatist tag, because that's the best rework since I've been in the game. Django Separatist, that's amazing. So let's say you use that. Yeah, sure. That's a team I actually use, and it actually get me holds sometimes because of point 1 and point 2. They have good mods and they underestimate the gear. Okay, but people will see that, and there is how most people will think about it. this is a team I know. This is a team that will get hard counter by JTR or by good Imperials, soldiers. So, troopers, sorry. So yeah, and they're right. Because, you know, these teams are used and used and used, and ex-game changers say this team should work, this team should work, this team should work, so everyone use them, because everyone sees the game changer play. And everyone knows how to counter these. But let's say you would be a bit of a nasty person. So let's say you check your opponent roster and you see he has a good JTR. If you put that team in your front row, there is a really good chance that he will go for JTR. So all of a sudden, hey, that was frightening and I didn't check it, but thank you whoever who just subbed. Thank you very much, I can see your name. Oh, I'm so bad at this. Okay, so let's say, sorry, that you would just do this. All of a sudden, JTR can't really do shit against that team, because L3 will taunt all the time, and she will cleanse Bosk. So even if JTR waves, and even if the debuff lands, and they won't because my Bosk is well modded, but yeah, L3 will cleanse Bosk, and all of a sudden they're in trouble. Let's say my opponent has some really good troopers. Let me do this. I could also use a Django lead for the speed, but at 308 speed, my nest is actually fast enough to outspeed most Starks. And, well, good luck taking that team down with troopers. Pretty sure you won't make it. If I wanted to be even worse about it, I would put Django lead. And if my opponent has both good troopers and good JTR, well, let me just do this. That's not really a classic, sure. I can tell you that will work really, really well. Nest assures that you don't get countered by fast Stark. L3 assures that you don't get countered by JTR. What are you going to use against that team? And that team kind of falls in every category. If I was to do that, now that I think about it, I would probably keep Embo for a Kira team, because he's really good there, so I will put back my harassing in there. And, well, people will underestimate the team because they will see 2 gear 11. They will also underestimate the team because they will say, oh, that's not a full bounty hunter, so it's going to be less effective than full bounty hunters, and that's absolutely wrong. They won't check the mods that are really good on some of these tunes, and you will get a hold just because of it. So yeah, that checks all the boxes. Spread your gear, have good mods, don't play the classics. And that brings me to one of my last points. I said 3 points, so that's kind of a 3.5. Do your own stuff. Try your stuff. You know, don't just follow blindly the classic teams, and don't even follow blindly what I tell you. Try stuff for yourself, read the kits, and try to find synergies. How do you think that us Terracrafters find some stuff? Like, how did I find the B1 team for the nuke? Well, I tried it. I thought, hey, this could work, and I tried it, and stuff like this. And what is really important about it is that everyone can teach you something in that game. Well, almost. You know who I'm talking about, but we don't say his name here. But yeah, everyone can have some good ideas. When 3v3 was a thing, not that long ago, and I hope they bring it back, a guy played this on defense against me. And I was like, whoa! You know, at that point, I hadn't seen anything about it on YouTube or anything, and I was like, yo, that's tough. That's guard on a very tanky Bosk. Wow, what am I going to do against that? And I used it since in 3v3. And yeah, everyone can have some good ideas. You will have some bad ideas too. I mean, I myself, I should make a video compiling my failed attempts at theory crafting. Like at some point I threw something like this together, and it wasn't really good. It killed the Bastilla and then it died horribly, you know, that kind of stuff. But yeah, do your stuff, try your stuff. and that's really important. That's hard, especially if you're free to play, because we don't have a sandbox mode, and because the only way you can reliably test stuff is actually Arena. If you have a nice shard chat, you could actually test stuff on Arena, and that will use some crystals and some resources, and that's really bad. And that's also why I'm a bit angry at most game changers that have test accounts and that just do these videos saying top 15 something and just using the regular teams. If I had a test account, I would test weird shit day and night, and I would just test so much stuff. But yeah, they never do. Anyway, then yeah, they don't come up with anything. But yeah, test your stuff, test your weird shit. If you think that something could work, go for it. Test it, even if people tell you that's wrong, even if people tell you that won't work. Well, if it won't work, okay, you might have lost a bit of resources, but you learned something and you can share it with people. And that's actually what most of us YouTubers do. And that's what I do, and that's how I progress in the game. Do your stuff. Yeah, here you go. 3 big tips. Again, 3 big tips. Spread your gear, spread your resources, because you want a lot of teams to be good. Have good mods, farm mods, farm mods, farm mods, always farm mods. And don't play the classic teams, because people will just classic counter you. Play weird teams, throw people off. The best defensive team with Grievous has BB-8 in it, in my opinion. Because people will just send even Jedi Knight Raven, and all of a sudden, all of the droids play before Jedi Knight Raven, and Yoda is dead before you can start playing, and what do I do? What do I do? That kind of stuff. And 3.5, test stuff. Do your thing. If you find something that works, and you put that on defense, and the other guy doesn't know how to deal with it, you might have just won your Grand Arena. So yeah, those were my thoughts. I rambled too much again, but I hope you find any of this helpful. I will make some more vids about teams I like and things I do in Grand Arena. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys later.